headlines here. So like John said, feel free to ask questions at any time. So here's Doug Hill. So Doug Hill, he's special speaker number 8 on the discussion. And again, this is the Southern California Quantum Computing Discussion with John Barnes, episode 19. So episode 20 next week will be with Terrill Frantz. So he's considered academia and quantum. So you should all be seeing this. And then, so basically this is today's introduction. So, we're getting up there as far as the numbers. John's a big player in quantum. We got more people filing in here. And there we go. So John, could you tell us a little bit about like your day-to-day with recruiting? I think you told me over the phone, maybe a month or two ago, that you started off really researching quantum. You've always done recruiting, correct?
Yeah, so first of all, thanks for having us on, Kevin. Really good to see everyone here. Morning for everyone that's in California, afternoon, evening, nights, and whatever else from people around the world. So my background, I first got into recruitment nearly 20 years ago, back in 2004. So spent most of the first 10 years predominantly working for boutique agencies in the software arena. And then, so quantum found me in 2014. So I was fortunate enough to have someone that I'd known as a candidate who I'd worked with previously reached out for me, said they were building a quantum computing processor and all the related subsystems, and asked me if I could help finding the team to do that. And my initial reaction was yeah, of course I can. And then I kind of realized what I'd actually got myself into over the next few years. So, I'm really glad that it happened.
Yeah, very awesome. So I don't know too many quantum computing recruiters in the space that specifically, for entangled positions. I've talked to a number of people on the phone that, similar spaces as far as like the high tech stuff. So what would you say is something that kind of like differentiates you from some of the other high tech recruiters?
Yeah, so I think I'd say pretty much as you mentioned. So I got into quantum in 2014. Over the years, I've done a little bit with machine learning, with AI, robotics, and the like. But I actually saw the long-term possibilities related to quantum. So rather than jump fully into the data subjects, I worked a little bit around those with some associate agents, but I was actually playing the long game for quantum. So that gives me sort of many years head starts on the other people that are now trying to learn about quantum, whilst also developing the networks and contacts. And I think that's the one thing that differentiates ourselves. No one else would have been crazy enough to spend this amount of time in quantum waiting for it. There was much easier money to be made, and that tends to be where recruiters follow. So I spent a lot of that time learning the trade, learning the industry, developing networks, and then from that developing communities, helping to build the community and create the ecosystem that we work in.
Yeah, so I know for sure we have some technical people on the panel, at least Ron Schreiner, and some other people. Now, as far as getting into quantum, I've seen things because it's like, as far as you just have to have a positive attitude and, on these hardware manufacturer site, and you're basically on, or you're in the company to some extent. And I think other companies are doing that stuff anyway. But what would you say are some of maybe the top 3 attributes that, these companies look into hiring quantum staff?
Yeah, so I think the thing is that I think the first thing to bear in mind with quantum is because it's a fundamental branch of physics. It's not like, if you work in software, you work in hardware, because it covers both. So they're putting the technical side of things aside for just one moment, because they're so broad, and I can focus back on those in a bit. But one of the things that we're finding is a major differentiator is within quantum. So there's a lot of the roles that are being hired for there aren't really sort of playbooks for it. I can't go out and get someone that's had, that's been working on this commercial product for the last 10 years, because they don't exist. It's novel research. These are things that often haven't happened before.